Hello, everybody, and welcome to the special happy birthday edition to Carol Weil, who's our kind chef leading today. And we're really glad that you're all here, and happy birthday, Carol.
Thank you. What a special treat.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Carol.
Happy birthday. Are we singing?
Well, let's hold off on that for a few minutes. But I just wanted to ask Julia. What?
I said, what do you see if you like the soup before you sing?
No, we're going to sing to you. But let me just ask Julia, because she was about to share with us how some of her soup was shared last week, I think, and I'd love to hear that.
Well, my husband has a friend who is in the midst, she just had major surgery for cancer, and she's in the midst of chemo. And, friends provided meals when she was right after she had surgery, but now that has, stopped. And we just texted and said, would you like some soup? So he was able to drive over there today and deliver a quart of soup and have a walk with her. And she really appreciated it.
It's so good. That's great. Thanks for sharing that. We wish her well. She doing well since the surgery?
It's been a rough, but she's day by day getting better.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Carol, you want to get us started?
Sure.
Right.
Welcome to healthy broccoli cheddar soup. I love this recipe because it has so many great vegetables in it, including cauliflower, which you wouldn't really expect in a broccoli cheddar soup. It's vegan if you use coconut milk. I think for people who are not coconut milk fans or don't have it in the house, you would be fine using any kind of milk. You can use 2%, you can use almond milk if you have it. Any of those will work.
But I found it so surprising that they did the coconut milk since it's a cheddar recipe.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I shouldn't say vegan. Of course, it has the cheddar. So I don't know why, because usually coconut milk is not in these kind of soups, but it'll give it, I think, a little bit more of like a Thai flavor, like a Asian kind of South Asian flavor. But as I said, if you prefer like the more traditional creamy version, I think regular milk will be fine. So we start with the olive oil butter mix. And as someone asked, I think it would be completely fine to just use oil if you prefer. You don't need to do the full complement of what they tell you to do with butter and oil. You probably will need less. So I would start, Jeb suggested, and I think it's a really good idea, just coat the bottom of your pan, whatever you're using, and then start to add the ingredients. And if things look like they're beginning to stick, I always, as we're making the soup, continuously stir it around. And if things are sticking, then just add a little more oil. But you should be fine if you start by coating the bottom. So let's start with that. And then when you're ready, you can add, I combined already because I did my chopping before. So I combined my onions and my carrots. And I'm actually using dried thyme. So I will add that and just put that in. So as soon as your oil is hot, go ahead and add those ingredients, and then we can go from there.
So Carol, jumping ahead just a little bit, there are very small measurements for the cayenne and the paprika, although so much everything else. Is that 3/4 of a teaspoon of each?
Yeah, I think it was, because we tripled the recipe, so I think it was probably 1/4 to begin with. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
It is small. I agree. And some if you taste it and want to add more, I think that's fine. By the way, what I do, I mean, we've all been cooking together for so long now, but when it seems we always sort of start with the fat on the bottom, and then you start to add your chopped items. In order to test if the oil or the butter or whatever you're using is hot enough, I usually throw in like 1 piece of onion or 1 slice of carrot or whatever it is you have, and then see if it sizzles a little. And if it does, then it's ready. And if it doesn't, don't add everything yet, because the oil will just kind of stick to the food instead of being there to just moisturize it. So that's a good way to test it if you are able to do that.
Everybody, while you're doing what you're doing, if you can hear me, I added a new location in Silver Spring that's got a drop-off window that's really attractive. It's Monday through Friday between 10:30 and 5:30. So if that's convenient to you, this is a new nonprofit effort called MoCo Reconnect, and they are supporting young adults who may be unstably housed, looking for a job, or just need a safe space to feel heard and valued. So filling their fridge with some soups will be a nice addition to, we're going to also drop off for them some casseroles and banana breads. And I think this would be a good place if you ever have like the smaller pint-sized containers that you're tempted to want to use up because you've collected a few of them. I think that that'll be a good place where, a young person can come in, they can heat up some soup and sit and eat it while they're doing whatever else they're doing there. So that's on all of our web pages from now on, and it's in the chat if you want to copy it.
Thanks, Deb.
Hey, Deb, did you ever find anything out about the church in Olney? What happened with that?
Unmute me. I didn't. I was working on finding us a new place rather than.
Just
Yeah.
because
Okay.
I haven't heard back from that woman who had to speak to me immediately. And then she says, well, I haven't cleared it with the rabbi yet. And I'm thinking, okay, fine, whatever,
Yeah.
But I was afraid when I sent that note, it was like, oh, I don't want to tell her about a place that didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I still need to know, but it's not as important, obviously, as it was when she was like,
Okay.
then. Thanks.
Okay, sure.
I'm curious, for those of you using the fresh thyme, how does that go in terms of cutting it off? Do you find that a pain, or I always find fresh thyme like really gritty and hard to work with, so I tend not to use it. But do other people have better luck than I do?
Carol, I find at the time I have lemon thyme growing outside, and I used dry today because I didn't want to go out in the rain.
Pick it up. I know. I really like dried thyme, and thyme is one of those ones where if you bite into a fresh chunk of it, it's a little sharp. So
yeah, well, the thyme that I have, because it's the lemon thyme, they're tiny little leaves. They're not as long. They're really smaller. So I've never really had a problem with them. And of course, if you're using the fresh thyme, you tend to not use as many of the stems.
Yeah.
So
well, maybe I should look for the lemon thyme then.
Yeah, I've had it I've had it a couple of years. It just sits and it grows. So.
And you don't replant it? It just comes back?
No, it comes back. Thyme, oregano, rosemary, although rosemary is a little more temperature sensitive. And I think sage comes back too, Joyce. Isn't that right? Joyce, the sage comes back.
Yes.
I had mint come back.
Mint always, mint. You can't kill mint no matter how hard you try.
It's very tenacious.
Yeah. I don't grow mint because my next door neighbor has enough, and I figure at some point it's just going to come right through her fence and into my yard.
For sure.
My onions, carrots, and thyme are smelling very nice. They're taking a long time to cook. It's but they are smelling good, so that's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. Something happening? Is someone at the door? Okay.
Carol, why are we blending this soup twice? Why can't we do it just once?
Good.
Passover, because
Oh,
it's
well,
Really,
let's see.
like 4 times or whatever, whatever.
Oh, oh my goodness. I just got a surprise at the door from KindWorks. How lovely is that? Wow. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you, KindWorks.
it's time to sing.
Oh,
It's time to sing.
Deb, can you?
much. Wow. Oh, Napoleon. I love Napoleon.
Carol, you were Zoom bombed. Look who's also on the screen. Marissa.
No, she's not on my screen. Oh my gosh. You are there. Sorry, I'm in the wrong view. Gallery.
Happy birthday.
Oh, wow.
Surprise.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just wanted to pop on and say happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Look at this birthday wishes. Thank you, sweetie. Thanks for joining. Thank
Enjoy
you,
the
everybody.
soup. Love you.
Thank you. Love you.
Bye.
Thanks for coming on. She is in the middle of her workday, but she's also 2 weeks shy of a wedding. So she's got a lot of stuff she's balancing. So
Well, not too much to sign on and say happy birthday to Mom.
oh, that
That's so
was so
sweet.
cute. And so I really wouldn't have seen because I wasn't on the right view. So thank you for letting me know.
Well, thank you for all you do for us, Carol.
Oh, thank you for all you do, every single one of you, for all the many, many meals and apartments and computers and bikes and everything that you do for so many people in our county and beyond. Cheryl, how are you feeling? How are you feeling?
So far, I'm fine.
Are you fine? Okay, that's good.
Handy. My husband has COVID. So,
So, well, I'm glad you're feeling well. That's
it's not bad right now, so that's good.
yeah. All right. Good. Good. Well, stay well. Stay safe. Thank you.
Carol, can we go backwards to my question?
To your question, yeah. So I'm just trying to think. Was it a bay leaves issue? Did they take out the bay leaves? Remove the bay
They do take out the, they do take
for
out.
the first blending? Return the soup. Well, no. Let's see. Transfer the soup to a blender. Return to the pot, and then add the broccoli. The only thing I can think of is if you don't have a big enough pot and things are getting too high and you need to blend it first to, but whoops, is everyone still there?
Yep.
Okay, my screen.
Deb's taken over the world, so just.
Oh, sorry.
Happy birthday to
Elvis, thanks, buddy.
birthday to you.
This is my punishment for being ahead to everyone.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. There's so much we can do on your birthday. I'm so glad it's your birthday, baby.
Me
Bye-bye.
too, baby. Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, everybody.
I'm looking forward to hearing Stevie Wonder. What happened? Took him off and gave us Elvis.
My first guest tonight.
So Marge, I think it's because of the volume of stuff. That's the only thing I can think of. But as long as you remember to take out the bay leaves, I think you're fine. If you just want to do it once, you're fine.
Okay, well, some of us didn't put bay leaves in because some of us forgot to buy more bay leaves after she used bay leaves last week.
I know, but it's so funny you say that because I just bought more bay leaves. It's one of those things that you run out of occasionally and then but you don't think about it. So yeah.
Right. I only buy a certain number because I don't want them. I mean, and you're supposed to keep them in the refrigerator as well. I read somewhere.
Oh,
So,
really? Oh, I don't do
yeah. So I keep them in the refrigerator now, and they do look better than when I used to keep them in the cabinet.
the dried
But-
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So so I used them last week and I didn't register until today that they were on in the recipe, and I wasn't going to go out just to buy bay leaves because I had everything else. So
I have a technical question, and that is blender versus immersion blender.
I
And
prefer
whether
immersion, yeah, but just because
Yeah.
it's easier. But in terms of quality or taste, no difference.
So no difference in texture.
Yeah.
Okay, good, Betsy. I was gonna ask.
Thank you,
that.
Joyce. Oh, there's the door.
Oh, yeah, I know. This one is because of Halloween. If you have to escape, I understand. So I am getting ready for my flour now.
Okay, so.
That was so cute that you guys got Marissa to come on. What fun. Oh, Marge, another thought, like my cauliflower, some of them are really big. And so that may be why they, to try to blend with a lot of cauliflower, they may think you should just do it in batches. That may be why.
And also, am I muted or can you hear me?
No, I hear you.
And also, they want the cauliflower pureed, to a smooth, but the broccoli, they're going to tell you to leave a little bit of substance too. So
Yeah.
I think that's why it's separate.
Right. So I may actually follow and do it in two different things and do more of a pureeing with the first batch and then.
That's an excellent point, Deb.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, because if you like your broccoli cheddar with pieces of broccoli, you may not want it with pieces of cauliflower because that's really more of a thickening agent. So yeah, good, very good point. 1, 2. Okay, I added my flour and then I just started to add the broth. And it is, things are, softening up nicely and
So I have a confession to make, and that is I started my soup early, ready to log on at 5 o'clock to make soup. Then I remembered it was 5:30. So I'm a little bit ahead. I've also taken to printing out the recipe beforehand, because sometimes I forget where I am and I have to toggle back and forth. So that's my two confessions. My third confession is I'm not going to be eating the soup tonight because I was in South Asia last week and brought back a stowaway with me, which I think might be an intestinal parasite.
Oh, no.
And my doctor has put me on a brat diet. Remember when we used to put our kids on brat diets?
Yeah.
So it smells delicious. I will have to pass on it for tonight, though.
You're a trooper to be feeling lousy and cooking.
No, actually, I feel fine, except for when I don't. But,
Yeah.
you know, so whenever I travel in places where I shouldn't eat the street food, I never eat the street food. And this time, for various reasons, I violated that rule and I've learned my lesson.
Oh, what did you eat? I'm going to live vicariously, not the intestinal distress part of it.
So I was with a couple other people from the U.S. Embassy in Dhaka in Bangladesh, and we were in the old city. And so first we had samosas, which I think were okay. And then there was a vendor who insisted that we drink the thing that he was making with yogurt and other things and blah, blah, blah. And then
Yeah.
like a little scoop of water and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it was so gracious of him. How could
Yeah.
I not drink it?
Yeah.
I should not have had it. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but lesson learned.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you learn fast. I would be doing that 4 or 5 more times before I said, all right, that's the end of it. Takes me a long time, Betsy.
It's so tempting. It's so tempting.
I know.
Well, you were very brave to join us, even with your gastric limitations.
No, even it's more the jet lag than the whatever it is, but it's always so wonderful to be here and see everyone's faces. And I love to cook, and I'll have lots of stuff in my freezer. And most likely, Deb, I'll take it over to Silver Spring. That's great because I know we can't. It's not halal, so I can't share it with Salma.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Oh, good. Let me know when you go what it's like there. Okay.
Will do.
Thank you. Thank you. Fun. If anybody signed in late, what Betsy was talking about is a new location for drop off of soups that we've added. And this one's in downtown Silver Spring, and their drop off can be anytime, Monday through Friday, between 10:30 and 5:30. So it's pretty convenient. Oh, Carol, that's official looking. I love it. And if you can't see it in the chat, it's also on all of our KindSoup's web pages from now on. So, and that's going to go to support young adults who might be unstably housed, looking for a job, or just needing a safe space to feel heard and valued. The name of that group that's running that location is MoCo Reconnect.
Well, on your true confessions point, I always, when I'm the chef, I always print it out because of that toggle problem. I don't like to go back and forth on my screen. So it's the time I do print it out, but
Me too.
I started keeping a computer in the kitchen though. So now I really try to, when I'm just cooking myself and I'm using a recipe online or something, I just use the computer and don't print it out normally, but.
Deb, did you say that the new location might want casseroles and banana breads and other stuff too?
Yes. Am I muted? No. Yeah, we're actually going to divert the casseroles and banana breads that were going to that senior center in Gaithersburg over to this location because it has been hard to communicate with the people at that senior center. So we are going to be sending them over here now and not there. So sadly, Julia, the casseroles and banana breads are already filled, but in this instance, feel free because until we create a new location in Gaithersburg, just feel free to drop some off there when you feel like cooking and doing something. They'll be additional and it's totally fine. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry, I was blending, so I missed what you said about the casseroles because I have all that squash that I'm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we the location that we were sending for the seniors, those casseroles and banana breads that Betsy created, the banana bread portion of that.
Yes.
They're just very non-communicative, and so we don't know if the people are enjoying them or not liking them or throwing them out or what. We couldn't really get any feedback, so I was looking for a new way to know that what we were doing was helpful, continuingly helpful, and whatever. So I think that gig was good while it was lasted, but now we're sending until I get another Gaithersburg location, which I expect to have by the end of the week. We're going to send the casseroles and banana breads over to this location in Silver Spring, Marge.
Okay, so what I did last year is I froze the casseroles and I delivered them with the soup.
Yeah.
I never got any pushback, so I assumed that they took them and gave them out. Instead, some people got casseroles, some got soup.
Yeah.
And last week I delivered about 2 dozen of the squash, the squash breads.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, these are, for those of you who are listening, these are they're mini loaves.
Mini loaves.
They're not 2 dozen big loaves. I did deliver 2 big loaves last week to Stepping Stones.
Lovely. So, okay, great.
Yeah, I never know what to do with those when I do put them into the count, but I don't put them, in other words, the number is always the amount of soup. And then in the notes, I always talk about breads and casseroles. I don't know if anyone bothers to read that garbage.
Oh, I do because I'm trying to, quantify what we all do. That's why it's really great when you guys remember to just, send me send in on that form that is linked in the website, what you do with your soups, whether you're giving them away, whether you're sending them to a food assistance provider, whatever you do with them, it helps us to know because then instead of 2,000, we're up to like 7,000 now. And which probably means it's closer to 10 because people forget. All of us do.
Well, I was surprised by that number because I thought I had cooked 5,000.
I know. I think you have. So true.
Right. Everyone else cook more.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure we're higher than that. But you know what? Whatever it is, it's fun and it helps and it's good.
It's raining and I'm about to get my first trick-or-treaters. How about that?
Oh, wow. We haven't had any yet, I think because of the rain.
Joyce, if you want to scare them, tell them that hold off. You're going to get them a little container of broccoli cheddar soup for Halloween.
I mean, who doesn't prefer broccoli cheddar soup to Three Musketeers bars, right?
Exactly. Hey, did you guys have what I had, which was the one house in all the neighborhood that was the dentist house that gave out like a toothbrush and some of those pellets that would, like, if you chewed them up, it would show you where all you missed brushing. That was always not the house you wanted to go to. What was the worst house you guys went to as a kid?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
Anybody have a bad Halloween house?
Well, I actually had an interesting Halloween house when we lived in New York City. I lived on East End Avenue, just down the street from Gracie Mansion, which was the mayor's residence. And when someone was running for mayor, his name was Procaccino, or was he running for governor? Anyway, they had a pumpkin there in front, and it was like his face. But they actually gave out candy at the guards' office onto the grounds of Gracie Mansion. We thought that was pretty cool. But trick or treating in New York City is kind of, you know, you get in the elevator and you go up and down the stairs.
It's true. It's efficient though, Betsy, right?
Quite so.
We had to run from house to house, this like in the elevator, and you get about 15 or 30 like pieces of candy. That's
You're
beautiful.
golden. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. My husband grew up in Peter Cooper Village in Manhattan. I mean, there were like 500 units in his building and he never had to go outside. He got so much candy.
That also avoids what I used to hate, and that is your parents always telling you, at least in New York, it's too cold, you have to put a coat on. And you're like, really? I have this great costume and I'm going to wear a coat over it? Every single year we had this.
No.
Speaking of New York, I have to leave the Zoom. I'm not quite finished, but I'm going to do phone banking for a candidate for Matt Castelli, who's running against Elise Stefanik. Not much chance of winning, but we certainly want to make a footprint.
Thank you, Hannah, for working hard for democracy.
You're right.
Thank you. And New
So
York.
take care, everybody.
All right, you too, Hannah.
See
Thank
you next week.
Yes.
So my favorite Halloween story is my son was born on November 8th, but he kind of thought he might want to come out on October 31st. So my daughter was about 3 and change at the time, and she was really interested in a sister. And, you know, she did not want a brother. So she and I went out trick-or-treating, and I was pretty big and I had a pumpkin costume on. And we went up and down the street, and I was in labor at the time and, you know, counting the contractions. And I'm like, you know, she doesn't want a brother. She loves Halloween. I can't, you know, she's got to go trick-or-treating. We cannot go to the hospital yet. And, you know, I'm knocking on doors, and the neighbor's like, oh, what do you do, Cheryl? 3 more houses. And then we did our 3 more houses, and I stumbled up the steps to our house, and the contractions stopped. But it was a lot of fun to remember that he's always been a tricky one. He tricks us every which way.
That is something. You're a much better mom than I ever could have dreamed of being. Wow.
Who wouldn't trick or treat? I love Halloween, but nobody comes on our street. You don't get a lot of bang for the buck. You need the houses much closer. Ooh.
I am finding that cauliflower takes a long time to soften. I don't know about you guys.
I was just going to go for my first grind. Should I let it soften up even more?
Mine's taking a while to boil.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, mine's boiling, but the cauliflower, I probably should have cut it into smaller pieces, maybe.
Well, I cut mine in really small pieces, and it's also taking, I just set it for another 10 minutes.
Cauliflower is a hard vegetable. So
Tough.
I guess so. And then now I'm understanding more why they want you to do this twice, because they probably really want you to get through that cauliflower before you add in broccoli.
I will tell you the saga of trick-or-treating in Carderock. So where I live in Carderock, I'm not near the pool. And they start at, I don't know what time, with a kids parade at the pool and a little party or whatever. So as the kids go home, the ones who have walked, they walk along the path, the streets near the clubhouse. And that's not me. So we don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters for a long time. Basically, the kids we get are the kids who live on the street pretty much because they're small enough that they've been driven home. It's too far to walk. And plus it's raining, so I'm sure they drove them up there tonight. So it's kind of nice. I mean, we get a good, we get kids, but not an overwhelming number. I feel sorry for the kids for the people who live up near the clubhouse.
Well, talking about the clubhouse makes me remember that I wanted to share big news, or ask Cheryl to share big news with all of you, to share if you are still on your listservs and maybe there's a pool in your area, or people who used to swim and now watch the Olympics. Cheryl, you want to tell everyone?
Katie Ledecky will be our special guest for World Kindness Day, Sunday, November 13th.
From 4 to 5.
And
Yes.
I knew that, and I forgot to include it in my email today. Deb, why didn't you yell at me? I thought about it yesterday, and then I wrote the email and left it out. So I'm gonna have to send them another email.
You promised multiple emails, so I was just letting it.
I gave them 3. I guess I have to send a 4th. Oh, God.
But not only to the soup people, put them out on your listserv, because there are people who in all of our communities that were swimmers and were maybe just Olympic wannabes and not swimmers, but this may appeal to all kinds of people. And we'd love to have them join us that day.
Cheryl, did you make the connection because she used to swim at Palisades?
Yeah, she used to swim at Palisades.
I remember that. That's so awesome. And you've kept up all these years, huh?
Yeah, I'm friendly with her mom. We've been swimming together and doing water aerobics and whatever else.
Wow. You swim with her mom? Is her mom like really a great swimmer too?
She is a really good swimmer. She is a really good swimmer. She's great. And they're really very kind and lovely, just a really lovely family. And Katie had tweeted something a couple of weeks ago about, what was it? Kind is the new cool. I mean, it was just like a random thing. And I was like, oh, let's see if she'll join us for this. And she will. And
that's so nice.
I think her aunt from North Dakota is going to be zooming in. I mean, there'll be some other Ledecky family members joining in. So
Are you putting it in the Palisades newsletter?
I haven't had a chance to send it to Brenda, but I wanted to do that today. And
yeah, I mean, we're members of Palisades too.
I am. I'm also a member. That's a great idea.
Yeah, that would be really fun. I mean, it's exciting that she's coming.
And she actually just broke a new world record over the weekend.
Oh, geez.
Toronto. And yeah, it's just, she's amazing.
She breaks world records like Marge makes soup. It's amazing.
What an analogy. I love that, Dad. That's priceless. Marge, are you per usual available for drop-offs of frozen soup tomorrow morning?
Okay, let's talk about this. So yes, tomorrow I am doing soup. And I am not doing soup next, is that right? Yeah, next Tuesday, because next Tuesday I'm going to be in Florida. So
Okay.
Tomorrow was good.
How's it? Okay.
And 2 weeks from tomorrow is fine. So yeah, if you're going to drop off soup for me to take it tomorrow morning, it's got to be frozen and at my house by 10 a.m. If it's not frozen, you can drop it off anytime during the week through Saturday, really, because we're not leaving till Sunday. So go ahead and drop it off, you know, and I'll throw it in my freezer and it'll go next week. Not next week, 2 weeks from now.
Okay, I will drop it off with ice packs because I have a ton of them. I get them every week from Hungry Harvest, and
How good of you.
I am very happy to
No, well, it's good
pass them on
because
to a good cause.
it keeps your soup cold. I don't have to carry my ice packs up. And I could throw out the ice packs sort of wear out after a while. They
Yeah.
tear and they leak and they, you know, so I can throw them out. So
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
I'll be your supplier, no problem.
Great. I am afraid that if all these people, and we should talk about this now, if all these people cook on the 13th, and I don't know if I'll be back in time to be on the call, but if they all cook on the 13th and I'm delivering soup on the 15th, I can't take 5,000 soups early. And there's actually a limit to how much fits in my car. So we'll have to, you know, we'll have to not over advertise next week, Deb. Just shake your head yes.
We're not going to over advertise your delivery service.
On the 13th, right?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind delivering occasionally for people. I don't mind delivering for anyone who's on the call all the time. But
Yeah,
if
no.
we have a lot of people, if we have people from Carter Rock and we have people from this, you know, let them find their own places and deliver.
That is always a possibility. Don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One of the Har Shalom cooks cooked the soup from the 13th last week. So
And
we've already delivered it.
yeah.
And
Did she
another
love it?
thought is to kind of space them out for those of us who do regularly. We don't have to deliver immediately after we cook, and yeah,
Great
some other
thought.
options.
Great thought.
We're actually hoping for lots and lots of people to join us on November 13th, both in our local area and across the country. And the idea is that they can find their own ways to share soup. And for some, if they have connections to shelters or food banks, it could be that. And for most, it could just be sharing with neighbors and postal delivery folks or anybody else. It's World Kindness Day is just to share kindness, spread kindness, and share soup as a way to show that. So we're really hoping lots of people will join us, and I just want to encourage everybody, your friends, to invite your family, people across the country and around the world. Really, it's a wonderful way to introduce who we are as KindWorks and this particular program to a broad array of people.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Salma. And if anybody wants, you know, any material from me to send to their relatives or friends wherever, I've got like this little form thing that I send out with like our flyer and a little introduction. And now it's got the news about Katie, and you're welcome to use it and make it your own. So just let me know if anybody would like me to forward something to them.
And a PS on the seasoning, Carol, I think the proportions are just fine. The 3/4 of a teaspoon of the cayenne and the paprika.
Sorry, I was muted because I was pureeing as Selma was talking, and I thought that would be really obnoxious to listen to. So I'm glad that the 3/4 worked.
I'm glad Betsy thought we were starting at 5 because I really thought that that didn't seem like enough spice. So thank you for checking all this out, Betsy. That helps.
Curious, I am going to add broccoli stem because I don't have any particular need for broccoli stem for any other reason. And I just do not want to, I could give them all to my dog, but then my dog will, it's too much. So I'm going to add some broccoli stem. I think it'll be fine.
Okay. So, okay. Are we supposed to puree the carrots as well?
The carrots I added early on with the onion.
Yeah, right. Do you puree them too?
Oh, puree them when you, yeah, I pureed the whole thing.
Okay, okay.
Carol, how has your birthday been? Are you doing anything special for dinner other than broccoli soup?
Oh, well, David's making dinner, which is really nice. And I got a lovely treat from KindWorks, which is lovely, and flowers from my girls, which is lovely. And otherwise, you know, we're sort of semi-quarantining. So, I mean, we're not going out and doing anything wild and crazy, but we have a nice bottle of wine chilling, and a late dinner, and trick-or-treating, and KindWorks, and yeah.
All fused. Okay.
Yeah, having a Halloween birthday is a mixed blessing. There's always so much going on, you know, that has nothing to do with my birthday.
Right, somebody stop me before I regret this, okay? I had some squash, like pumpkin-y looking squash that I roasted just to like do something with it yesterday, and I'm tempted to throw it in there before I grind all this soup up. Somebody stop me if I need to be stopped.
What kind of squash?
I really don't know because I had it cubed up, but here's, can you see what it looks like?
Is
looks
it
like I'm
yellow?
making-
I can't. It's not a summer squash. It's like a fall squash, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine. It'll thicken it. True
It'll
confession,
thicken.
I threw in some kale that I had because,
Mm.
you know, why not? It was like the bottom of the bag, and I was,
Mhm.
you know.
But I worry that the squash is going to take away a flavor from the broccoli, or no? At least kale's green.
Pears, it's healthy because the carrots are orange, the cheese is orange unless you used white cheddar. And you just reminded me that I probably had a 1/3 piece of kabocha squash because I cooked more pumpkin soup yesterday, and I have some left over, and I can think of no better idea than to throw that in and blend it as well.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yeah, I agree, especially with the carrots. It's going to add to that sort of flavor pod. So I think you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Wow, this, my pot is very, very, very full. I don't know if everyone else is finding that.
Somebody mentioned before that the soup was not be halal. If you use vegetable broth, is there something that makes it not?
The cheese.
I'd use chicken broth.
Oh, chicken broth.
Yeah, in mine.
Well, what about, is cheese okay?
Yes, cheese is okay and vegetable broth is okay. Both of those are halal.
So it's like, so if you're vegetarian, you're halal? I mean, if you have no meat product at all in a dish, would that qualify for halal?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So these could also be delivered to Salma's, to the freezer in front of Salma's house.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know kosher is that if you eat vegetarian, you never have a problem with complying with kashrut either. But I didn't know if the same was true with halal.
Although some cheeses are not kosher if they use rennet, right?
Well, that's true, but I would imagine that would be true with halal too, if it uses like what is
Gelatin
it?
or, yeah.
Parmesan has rennet in it. I know. I never like to think too much about this because it makes me want to be more limited than I already am, and my family is has only so much patience, but yeah.
So is the food at the wedding going to be vegan?
So we have 3 entree options. We have a salmon, and we have a vegan option, and we have a vegetarian option.
So it was interesting. I just spent a week in London, and my niece and nephew are vegan, and they were pointing out that like every restaurant, every place now has like vegetarian and vegan options, and it's so true. Like walking around there, it feels like England's become like a foodie place, and that there's like really interesting vegan options advertised as you're walking down the street, and yeah, it was really good.
Wow. That's not true in a lot of Europe, so that's interesting. I guess they're way ahead of the trend. When we were in Croatia, it was really hard. We ended up going to either Indian restaurants, which always had vegetarian options, or even like Mexican restaurants, you could get something, but it got to be like a joke. Like, oh, what kind of cuisine will we have tonight? It's not Croatian.
You know, I found that true because I worked for British Telecom for many years, and I found it true that London had plenty of vegetarian options. Oh gosh, you know, 10, 15 years ago. It was very easy to go there and eat. Of course, you had vegetarian food, and then every other meal, I'd have salmon. I ate salmon virtually every meal, and it was wonderful. I mean, it's like, it's delicious. So,
But I think also in Ireland and other countries, on every menu, it indicated what had dairy, what had nuts, what was vegan, what was gluten-free. I mean, every possible variation on dietary restrictions was clearly listed on the menu.
I think that's great. I wish they did that here. I will say I have a cousin. I have a 92-year-old cousin who was here a couple of years ago, and he's been a celiac since the 1930s. I mean, back when this was, you know, like he almost died kind of thing. And so he's very, very careful. Now it's a big deal to say you have to be gluten-free, but for him, it's a matter of life and death. And we went to Zaytinya, the Jose Andres restaurant, and he asked the waiter or waitress, you know, what was gluten-free, and they said, oh, wait, we have a menu. And they gave him a whole menu of things that he could eat. And I thought, my God, this is lovely. Because sometimes, you know, sometimes he'll be very careful, and they'll say, okay, we'll cook for you. I'll make sure that the chef knows, and they'll cook special for you. But they had a whole list of things already set up for that. And I thought, that's wonderful.
So I'm wondering what Carol is doing, pureeing a second time. That gets the broccoli then, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting the broccoli, but then I also remembered, oh shoot, I have to take out the bay leaves. So I am like hunting for bay leaves. I've got 2 out of 6, so I'm on a roll.
It took me 10 minutes to find those bay leaves.
I know, damn, right? I should have taken them out earlier.
I need to
And
get
I wonder if there's something you can get at a cooking shop, which is like a sachet for bay leaves, so that you can just like put them in this sachet and then take them out, so you're not fishing.
Well, you
for
can
them the whole
just
time.
get cheesecloth.
That's exactly, that's probably a great idea next time.
That's such a good idea.
Not something I have around the house.
So what would you do? Wrap it in, wrap the 6 leaves in one piece of cheesecloth and tie it, and then just stick it in there?
Yeah.
Good idea.
You definitely have to remember, you don't want to shred it.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Oh my God, I don't want to shred the bay leaf.
Okay, so 1.5 cups of cocoa.
Oh, you guys look great. Happy Halloween to you too. You want to take 2? You have 2. You know, you're only the second group that's come here. Is it raining still? Yeah. Hey, how are you? Great. I love your. It's good to see you. All well? Doing a beautiful job. Okay, take care.
Oh,
Okay. Number 6, yay.
Did anyone use frozen broccoli in their recipe?
I used frozen cauliflower.
Really?
I let it
I
cook
used
out
frozen-
ahead of time. And so it was not frozen when I put it into the pot, but it was still cold.
What did you do ahead of time? You drained it, you like cooked it?
Well, no, I just threw it in because
Okay.
it's just a bag of frozen cauliflower. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah. I had like half fresh and half frozen. So the frozen, I was worried that it would be too watery and the water might change the flavor or the texture. So I just took some like a pot of boiling water and I poured it over it in a bowl and let it sit there and thaw out to, kind of room temperature. And then I dried it. And now I'm going to throw it in and see what happens. But I was wondering if anyone had that. I don't ever get frozen vegetables. Really, I don't know how to cook with them, but this is what it looks like. Like
Hmm.
I
beforehand.
hope
So
you're
I
good
just-
because I used frozen broccoli and frozen cauliflower and a head of fresh broccoli that I had in the fridge. So we'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Yes, that's what I'm kind of like. Well, I had fresh cauliflower and half frozen broccoli. So there's a kind of like a combination. So we'll see how that happens, how it works. Only one way to find out, right?
Right?
okay.
It smells delicious.
But when you puree the cauliflower, the first part, how thick is your soup turning out at that point?
Sorry, what was that? You're on mute.
I'm up to the point where I'm pureeing the cauliflower, and I'm just not sure how thick this soup should be at this point when I'm.
Oh, mine was, let's see, with the cauliflower. I mean, so here I'm after the broccoli puree, and here's about what it looks like. Can you
Yeah,
see?
but that's really, Cheryl, mine was quite thin at the cauliflower stage, and it's much thicker now after everything else.
Mine's pretty thin at this stage.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, because remember, you also have the cheese to add.
Yeah, she's really helpful. I gotta run, everyone. Happy birthday, Carol.
Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Enjoy. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Cheryl and Deb, I wanted to let you know I asked Joy Stein if she would like some soup, because I thought that might be a nice person to bring some soup to. But she told me she and Stuart hate broccoli. So I said, okay, not this one, but the next one.
How do you puree without like keeping it chunky, the broccoli? I know it's a silly question.
Mine didn't work well. Mine, I mean, I have little green spots of things, but I thought I was gonna have bigger chunks and I don't.
Yeah, that's not a silly question. Actually, I found that I just had to pretty much puree it if I didn't want to have bigger chunks floating around. Like if you want to get to all of those and not fish them out, then I think you have to, I don't know if anybody else had, I think it also has to do with how large you started, your broccoli pieces started. I probably should have chopped it or minced it a little more if I wanted that effect, but I went with big clumps of broccoli that came out of the frozen package. So
It's delicious.
And I had pre-thought that out, Julia, and I had some smaller florets and then the bigger ones that I was just going to put in. And then because I am like completely undisciplined almost always, I threw it all in, not by mistake. I just kind of lost my will, even though I had thought it through and separated smaller florets. I don't know why.
you're funny.
You got to learn to accept yourself at this age. So I'm like, all right, I'm throwing it in. I don't care.
And this is why we love you, Deb.
Thank you.
You're such a good influence.
What do you guys think about the cheese amount? I have this and I'm a little scared to put it in because I feel like I'm making my healthy soup unhealthy.
I did more towards the 3 cups than the 6 cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it still tastes very cheddary, but it's not gloppy.
Carol, you're muted.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, I grated 6 cups, but I'm not gonna use it. It's just gonna be 2, especially if you added the coconut milk. It's gonna be too like creamy.
Okay. Thanks.
I'm surprised because I cut the recipe, I cut it to double instead of triple. So I did 2/3 of everything. And I put in 4 cups, which would be 2/3, and it's fine. So I bet you could go with the 6 if you used 18 cups of broth. I only used 12. Tastes great.
Well, two are both very forgiving and very personal.
Do you think I can convince my husband this is dinner?
Oh, yeah.
I was going to make a quiche, but you know, I haven't gotten that far yet. And no one has commented on my beautiful little pumpkin earrings. I'm wearing jewelry. I never wear jewelry. You know, I never wear anything. So it's a big deal here. And a scarf. I have a lovely scarf on. See?
Adorable.
I am adorable. I have a witch's hat. I actually have 3 hats, and we couldn't find the other 2. We could only find the big witch's hat, so I'll be wearing that later.
Yeah, I meant to put on something Halloween like today. All right, well, you guys, we have taken up way more of your Halloween evening than we thought we were gonna. Is everybody feeling kind of confident? Should we let everyone go, or people need to stay on a little longer?
I'm out.
I got a thumb up.
Thank you, Carol. Happy birthday to you, and Mazel Tov on the wedding.
Thank you for celebrating.
Feel better.
Happy birthday, Carol.
Yeah, ditto, Carol. Thanks a
Look
Happy
at
lot.
Halloween,
Kelly, you
everyone.
guys.
Oh, there's a mask. Nice, Kelly.
That's a nice
Okay.
costume.
My husband just
Love
pulled it out of the costume box,
Very cute.
so I'm gonna wear
All
it.
right.
All right, bye,
Okay.
all. Marge, safe,
Everybody.
safe trip,
Bye-bye.
Marge.
Thank
And I'll
you.
see you all next week for a really yummy roasted red pepper soup. Okay.
Sounds
Bye,
good.
y'all.
Thanks a
Have
lot.
a good night, Carol.